Hello guys and welcome to another video. Recording it back to back. I've just finished recording for the GM David Gabrielescu, and I'm gonna record now for covering the European Chess Tournament, individual chess championship for GM Bogdan-Daniel Deac. And GM of course comes from Grandmaster, and we'll get started. But first I'm gonna present myself. Also, so my name is Mihai Venețeanu. I'm from Romania, and I'm a chess player myself. I'm a 2100 guy, and yeah, I'm also a coach. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Online, I have the rating of 2500, and yeah, in all aspects of the game. So yeah, that's about it. I have even have more on another aspect, like in bullet, but it doesn't really matter. But this video is not about me; it's about them. Uh, what you need to know is I'm a small channel YouTuber who's just trying to make that. That's the other clip I've just recorded, and now we're gonna look at the main and the first Romanian player, which is Bogdan-Daniel Deac, who finished on 8 points out of 11, and who definitely needs coverage in this tournament, as he is the leading Romanian player. In this tournament, he lost minus 1.1 ELO, and he got 21st place. And I know that the first 20 places get to the World Cup, get the spot for the next World Cup. But maybe he can qualify by other means, by other aspects. We'll see. So we will get started. We will just make some introduction. Maybe Bogdan Daniel Deac doesn't need too much introduction, as he's been covered in other channels and all throughout the internet too. He is quite famous. He is a former 2700. I have to mention this. You can see a picture over here. I need if I make a coverage and if I make a clip, guys, I need more pictures. I need to show it to you in a proper way, in a professional way. I'm just gonna open Internet Explorer because it's better, or Microsoft Edge, whatever. Just to show you guys some pictures. Because if I'm making it for YouTube, it's not like I'm showing only the moves, only the games. People want to see some photos too. They want to interact or with the player, or at least feel like they're seeing it. There's a YouTube video. Bogdan Deac explains his win against whom? Against David Navarra in Dortmund. Okay, he played there in a tournament. He played a lot of tournaments throughout Europe, maybe in America too. So yeah, as being a former 2700, yeah, his peak was around 2705 or something like that. You can see some photos like here. I've seen him this year a couple of months ago in Timișoara at the championships. Now, I want to say also that I'm sorry for not making an introduction for David Gavrilescu and the other guys. That's why I said to see this video. That's why I said. But yeah, I will say that it's not the first time. It's not gonna be the last time they will appear on my channel. So I'm gonna make up for it. I'm gonna make an introduction for them next time. I'm talking about for David Gavrilescu, for Samuel Timotei Gimpu, for Tudor Henry, for Felix Antonio Ilinka. If I didn't make too much of an introduction for them, I'm sorry about that, and I'm just feeling bad, and I'm just gonna get back to when I do another clip about them. I'm just gonna recover. In Romania, I would say mă revanșez, but I cannot find the word in English for it. I will make up for it. Yes, there you go. Finally, I will make up for it. Believe me. So anyway, this is the intro. My goal is to make this video less than 60 minutes, because I made the last videos 2 hours, 3 hours, too much, 2 hour and a half, too much. It's just too much time that I don't have. I have to do a lot of things. I have to go to work. I have to eat. You know, I have to do a lot of things. I have to clean my house. I'm an adult now, so anyway, I've just explained that things. So we need a plan. So the plan is, because it's 11 rounds. And for example, if I click on this was 31 games, 31 moves. If I click on another, 41 moves. So we have kind of long games. I'm just gonna set up a timer on my clock, on my phone, of 4 minutes. All right. So if you have 11 rounds, 11 times 4 is 44 minutes. We will try to keep the promise as much as possible, and that's about it. Keep the word, and also have some time for the outro. That will leave me for the to finish the tournament and finish the video less than 60 minutes. So let's get started. In the first game, Bogdan-Daniel Deac with the white pieces, 2655 Grandmaster. Again, now he dropped some rating. I've already mentioned. Playing against Bozena Pidubna. Wow, she lost a lot of rating. Damn, from Ukraine. Damn, such a bad performance by her. I feel even worse. Now I feel even bad. So 4.5 out of 11, minus 65.8 elo in this tournament. Damn, good thing I'm not doing a coverage for her. Well, hopefully some Ukrainian guys will do a coverage for her, or maybe she does for her own. By the way, guys, if you guys know any of the small guys YouTube channels, give me a comment down below because I cover a lot of players that they played against the Romanian guys. I can give a shout out. Maybe I can give something in the description. Maybe I can do a collaboration in the future. Who knows? So anyway, pawn to c4 Bogdan Daniel Deac. He has around 354 more points elo than her. Okay, and let's go. Let's go. So the English opening, pawn to g3, pawn to e5, bishop to g2 by Bogdan, and pawn to c6 by Bozena. Knight to f3, attacking the pawn, pawn to e4, attacking the knight to d4, going to the center by Bogdan, and queen to b6 by Bozena, hitting the knight. Pawn to e3, just defending and keeping the position solid. Pawn to d5 now, knight to c3, just developing the pieces. This is all theory. Bishop to e7, and pawn to d3. And what white gets, just some attack over here, and a nice bishop. Yeah, sorry about that arrow for the diagonal, but that's just about it. And Bozena goes for an attack on the queen, and now Bogdan usually uses a lot of time on the clock, but this is customary. He's a guy of great humility. He's never arrogant, and yeah, if there's one thing to be improving on his aspect, his games, or on his persona, maybe be a little bit more arrogant or more aggressive, or just use your clock. But I mean, play faster. Anyway, takes, and bishop to b4, c takes d5, c takes d5. He is almost 30 minutes less, but bishop to d2. Let's see how he won the game. This position is quite stable. Again, attacking those pawns, putting pressure on them with the knight and with the bishop. D takes e4, bishop takes e3, kind of forcing the exchange, as otherwise knight takes e4 would have been an idea. Bishop takes e3, knight takes e4, rook to a5 by Bogdan, attacking d5, and queenside castle by Bozena. All right, f3, and now this is a fork, so kind of forcing knight takes c3, knight takes c3, and now b takes c3, just improving the pawn structure for Bogdan. But he has 3 minutes now, so what's up with the time usage like this? He just takes into stock all of the variations and he tries to play ultra perfectionist. But alright, we don't have time for that. King d2, knight to c7, rook takes a7 is next. Also, rook h a1 is a possibility for Bogdan. But now he tries playing, he starts playing fast. He gets very confident when playing with time trouble, or when he has seen everything. He just wants to see everything and then just play very, very fast. But this is sometimes a mistake because you cannot see everything. But he wants to be in control. He wants to have everything stable by himself. So anyway, knight to e6, my first clock will expire and I will not finish the game as it's customary. H4, f5, rook 1 to a6, bishop to f7. So basically Bogdan improves the position, he gets less and less time, he plays on seconds. All right, and then what happens? Knight to a5, putting pressure on b7 by Bogdan, rook to b8 by Bozena, rook c6, check diving the king away, and then he will win the pawn on b7, knight to d8, and now, I mean, you could have just taken it, but I guess he just wants to increase the pressure. With 3 seconds on the clock, he played c4, and now f4, and rook to e8. At the very least, he opened up his bishop as well, so he wanted to be safer when taking this pawn. Check, takes, and yeah, the rook is also protected by the bishop. Rook to c7, putting pressure on c4. king to c1, now rook d3 by Bozena, or Botzena, rook takes c3, king d2 attacking the rook, and now capturing on c4 as well. Rook to c7 now by Bogdan. So basically, the game is decided by the passer, the B passer. And the rook takes g7, and by the rook on the seventh rack. Rook takes h7, bishop to f3, bishop d3, rook a2 check by Bozena, king e3, rook d5, rook h6 check, king e7, bishop takes f5. So Bogdan collected all of the pawns and then got into, out of the time trouble, into time control with 4 points up, and king takes d4. So he just needed to prove his accuracy in the time trouble, but I guess it's just best not to get into that situation in the first place, you know? All right, but he moved into 1 out of 1, and yeah, he just collected all of the pawns and he won the game. It was a nice game, and we're just gonna move on to the next one. So, second game, he lost against an IM from Turkey. Wow, and up to move 64. So he was playing with the black pieces, and we're gonna check that out. Again, a 4 minute timer. Of course, I used like 6 minutes for the first round, so I have to make up for it. Now I really have to keep on my word. Keep up my word. And as it's a 64 move game, I really have to go. So I really have to present it fast. So he decides for another opening. He goes for the Dutch. I have never seen him play the Dutch. Maybe he played it at some point, and he goes for the Leningrad defense, the variation where g6 is played and bishop to g7, just fianchetto with the bishop castles. This is like a King's Indian, it's like a hybrid. So pawn to d6, now knight to c3 is just very nice developing for both sides. Queen to c7, bishop to a3, knight to e4. He played the opening faster, but I think, I believe he will still get into time trouble. Now he exchanges the knights and he kind of invites the queen into a pin. So knight to d7, rook a d1, knight f6, just going in for the throat for the queen, keeping in the idea of knight e4, bishop d7, stabilizing the rooks. But for a move like bishop to d7, okay, you take into account all of the things and you want to be very accurate. And he plays everything at the board. I don't know how much preparation he does at home, but it feels to me like he just he just learns everything or a lot of things for the position at the board, bishop to d7, because otherwise you just play it instantly, bishop to d7, Otherwise, if you think for 10 minutes, you play knight to e4, or you play after 10 minutes a5, something very sharp. But anyway, that's just my remark. Rook f1, knight e4, attacking the queen, queen a5, knight to d2, d5, improving the knight. Finally, now you don't trade the knight. You have to improve your position, play more aggressively. Because now he gets to 34 minutes, okay, and to this position, and it's bad to have less time against against weaker opponents, just 200 and something, 220 points more than him. So anyway, because I have 2 minutes on my timer and 40 more moves, and until 60 more moves, I have to cover it. So e4 takes bishop to g4, attacking the rook d2, and basically he just wants to double up on the f file, play over there. It's 4 against 3 over here. He has an isolated pawn over here, so black is a little bit worse, I would say. Strategically and long term, I don't know about the engine evaluation of any tactics or any sharpness. He gets the doubling of the rooks, and you cannot really stop rook f2, can you? As the queen also protects there. So takes back, h3, and now he did not play a rook check. Oh, wait, you can stop it, because actually the queen takes. I'm sorry, my maths is wrong. Yeah, it's 3 defenders against 3 attackers. So you have to go back. So you need one more attacker to get rook f2 to work, but yeah. Bishop to f5 now, okay, offering an exchange, and then takes. I'm not even gonna say the clock's 50 seconds against 235, but I'm not gonna repeat it so and so. It's just a position where white's pawn structure is better. Just black had more activity, and I believe you had to exchange queens sooner or later, or maybe he was thinking also of some queen b1, or there's something that he didn't like, but maybe he had to play it. Maybe he was afraid of some repetition over here or something. something, rook f2, or I don't know. He was afraid that he wasn't too stable and because of the time trouble. But see, he is confident in the time trouble, but then he wants to keep everything stable too. But so you minimize your winning chances, basically. Okay, so my time will expire now. Again, I will just let it ring. Okay, I let it ring for a while. Queen e6. So this is my punishment because I'm not covering the game enough. So queen d6 now, queen takes, pawn takes. So he improved his pawn structure and he tries to survive to the time control. Both players are in crazy time trouble. And basically, this is something that will ring in their head. They just try to create that atmosphere, that time trouble, just ding, 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 ding. He loses a pawn, or at least tries to create the time trouble. And now finally, move 40, 31 minutes against 31 minutes, and they would look back and think, okay, was there anything better? No, there wasn't, because if there was any rook f6, still rook a6 would have won a pawn. So I mean, rook a8 and rook takes a6. You get what I'm saying? Or rook f6 or rook to e6. You know, rook f6 or rook e6. You either defend one pawn or the other. White would have won a pawn, but this position is kind of bad. You could draw it, but let's see. The IM Alparslan won this game. King to e4, h5 by Bogdan, king to d4 by Alparslan, and he goes very aggressive with g5. He tries to neutralize all the pawns from the king side, but then Alparslan just goes to the other side and just tries to win the game. Basically, he gives a check. Rook c3. He plays very confident now, very fast. Bogdan, and he was perhaps mad and upset as to the game situation. A takes b4, king takes b4, rook takes g3. He has some chances over here, but the a pawn is very, very fast. You have to play immediately rook g1. Obviously, I think objectively this would be equal and 0-0, but he made a blunder. Maybe rook g4 is a blunder. Let's see, where did he make a blunder? No, it's +5. Oh, he made a blunder with rook f5 earlier. Oh, this is all shit road. This is not even equal. We will get back to that rook f5 moment. a5, rook g4 check here. So it turns out that even if you had played here, you didn't have time. Because there's a G pawn. Oh, because there's a G pawn. Yeah. So basically because, okay, this is what happened. Yeah, because of the G pawn. So that's why he tried. I mean, because of the G pawn. Let me show you what I mean by it. So I have to put my laptop to charge. And I'm wasting too much time for this video. Come on, Mihai. Come on, Mr. Fighter Chess. Come on. You have to cover the games in 4 minutes. You have to keep up your word. So if rook g1, then, for example, something like this, or here. If you take, there's this, here, and here, and you win the game. Here. And the rook luckily just stops everything in time. Luckily for white, I mean. Just here and here. And that's it. And the king comes in time, I think. And if you wanna check it out, let's check it out. Yeah, let's go ahead and check it out. Yeah, it's for sure. It's just winning for white, right? Here, let's say h3 here, g3. Well, this maybe is not winning. This is not winning. No, this is a mistake for me. Oh, okay. So this is, yeah. Oh, this is 0-0. This is all 0-0. What? It's all 0-0. Hold on. Oh, so then what's the win? Oh, you don't play rook b7. Why did I play rook b7? Yeah, you can do this immediately. So it's winning by one tempi plus 9. Yeah, okay. But yeah, of course, here I'm just playing here or something like this. Maybe you get into the same position. Maybe you have to also be very accurate with the king. Also, you have to bring the king very, very fast. I wonder if that rook e3 is good. Yeah, it's also good. Yeah, it's also good. Okay, let's just finish the game. So yeah, so basically what happened is he gave a check. No, not here. Rook g4 check. And yeah, Bogdan tried with the two pawns, but the king is just too fast for white. And it's too too fast and too winning, and it's over. But let's go to that rook f5. Where was rook f5 or rook b5? There was or king rook e5. Where was the position where he blundered? Rook f5 he blundered. He had another chance. It was obviously very strong for he played rook f5 here. So only chance would have been here. But okay, king c5, isn't it better? Oh, rook g4. And what? Why? Oh, because you take with the rook and your pawns are a little bit worse. Here, first of all, you lose the race. It doesn't even matter about the pawns anymore. It's just the race. You are faster with the race here and here just to get your pawns rolling faster, and here you're not faster. You just have to understand the position better. That's about it. Yeah. Okay, that was the game. I wasted too much on it. 21 minutes, 9 more rounds. Okay, definitely cannot afford anything. Okay, I'm gonna put a 3 minute timer. Luckily, okay, let's hit this game in 3 minutes, hopefully. So Bogdan-Daniel Deac was playing against Daniel Yasmo from Germany, player with 2271. He doesn't have the master yet. Maybe he's just waiting for to reach to FIDE master. Anyway, so it's around 400 points difference. Let's see how Bogdan does. He's playing the Nimzovich Larsen, the Nimzovich Larsen attack with b3 and this. So pawn to e6 by Daniel, g3 by Bogdan, h6 just to keep the bishop protected. Knight to f6 just to attack it away back. That's what I meant. Castles. Knight b to d7 to develop. Pawn to d3. Bishop to d6. Knight to c3. Everybody develops. Every side develops their pieces. Castles short by Daniel. Queen e1 by Bogdan. And prepares pawn to e4. It's just like a Dutch with reversed colors. So without playing f4, it's just or like the bird, because he played in the last game the Leningrad and he lost. But okay, e4 takes because in the Leningrad you also have the queen e8 and then pawn to e5, so it's the reverse colors. So pawn to e5 by black, 92 by Bogdan, c6 Daniel, and now hitting the bishop with knight c4, bishop to b4 by Daniel, a3 by Bogdan here, and then a4. So he kind of concluded the opening with a stable plus, playing against this bishop. Maybe queen a2 and rook a d1 will be next, or king h1 first, and he tries to go for f4, but f3 first. So he really plays against the bishop on h7, rook a d8, knight to d1, and then we have b5. We have a couple of maneuvering takes, knight to e3, the knights go to the center, f5 or d5, c4 to get another advantage over here on the C line, also to open up the game if possible, or otherwise to get a nice pawn structure. B4, okay, this is a nice pawn structure. Bishop to d4, bishop takes, e takes, and knight d5, and then I'm taking with the c pawn, knight takes, c takes, pawn to f5 by Daniel, just trying to hit the center very fast and very well, to chip at it at least with the bishop on a7, queen e2 attacking the rook, rook b3, queen takes b5 by Bogdan, rook c8 by Daniel, and pawn to e5, a pawn sacrifice for some activity or some d6 f4, which he accepts. Rook takes a7, also the rook comes into the game, f4 by Daniel, g takes f4, queen f6, pawn to d6, getting the passer rolling, and some I mean, if you don't capture the pawn, I'm just gonna have queen d5 check. Also, queen d5 now is stopped by bishop f5 to e6. So rook a8, too much pressure on the back rank too. It's a very complicated position. And again, Bogdan with seconds on the clock. So bishop to e6, queen e5, bishop to c4, rook c1, d3. Black has a passer, knight e4 to block it. Rook takes b4 to kind of win a pawn. Bishop to h3 to attack the other rook. Rook e8 attacking the queen, queen c3, queen takes f4, rook g1, queen takes f3, check. And now you can block bishop g2, queen takes f7, back, and queen takes b4. So white won a rook and won a knight, and the d pawn advances, rook takes e8, queen takes e8, d7, takes, and takes back, and white's up two pieces, a rook and the knight, and that's why the black player resigned, Daniel resigned. And okay, it was all very big advantage, and the final mistake was at f4, after which is +2. Of course, there are other mistakes, but then the engine doesn't say two question marks or one question mark. But yeah, it's very good play and good finds by Bogdan. It's not like the final mistake, but the final big mistake was F4, and then the smaller mistakes, and already trouble was already there with the time too, and that's about it. But yeah, you can see that Bogdan plays very complicated games, and getting to time trouble is not a good idea, either in a complicated game or in a simple position. So anyway, next we have the fourth round against Polish player Timon Zernek. We haven't seen him already. FIDE Master with a 2401, and Bogdan is rated higher with 250 points around that. So anyway, pawn to e4, and he plays the modern pawn to g6, kind of playing very tactical. I wanted to say to ridicule and to laugh at your opponent, but not really about that. Bogdan is not an arrogant player. He's not a big guy to just talk smack or just talk trash or anything like that. So yeah. Anyway, f4, three pawns, attack, the Austrian attack, c5 here, d takes c5, queen a5 check. The point of g6 is just to get your opponent out of out of theory, or out of his comfort zone. C3, queen takes c5, queen to d3, knight to f6. So both sides develop. Now bishop to e3 hitting the queen, and pawn to e5 hitting the knight. But now the knight hits the bishop, and you don't really want to give up this bishop. Therefore, but okay, he does invite an exchange. d6 now hitting the center first, knight to a3. Again, Bogdan uses a lot of time. Castles long by white. Knight takes c3 now, and queen takes e3. Okay, he was sooner or later gonna take that bishop if white wasn't gonna keep it in. D takes e5, knight takes e5, queen f6. So white has the initiative, and black has the bishop pair. More space for white too, and that's about it. Knight to c6, white has bad knight on a3 for the moment, for the next moves. Knight takes c6, b takes c6, and rook h e1. A lot of pressure on e7, so you have to see what you do. Okay, you can sacrifice the pawn. a5, pawn to g3 by Timon, e6 by Bogdan, queen to c5, attacking the weaknesses, making the queen very, very active over here. Pawn to a4, rook to d3, doubling up, bishop to a6, neutralizing the bishop and getting rid of the bad piece. Rook takes a6 and rook hd1, h6. And how was this a draw? Let's see. Okay, Bogdan with 1 minute, attacking on the queen side, so he has something to play for. Pawn to b3 now. Pawn to g5, opening up another front. Knight to e5, queen f5, improving the queen. Knight d7, hitting the rook, and rook to e8, trying to keep the position in check. Queen takes f5, okay, queen swap, but I'm threatening here to come in, so you kind of have to stop it. Stops it for the moment as attacking the rook. Oh, and that's why it was a draw. Bogdan just wanted the draw, and he went back home. But you can still play, like, after he stops this. If you stop it like this, you give up the pawn. How do you stop the rook infiltration? You can play here. I don't know what he was afraid of. Maybe he was afraid of just losing the pawn somehow. But yeah, I guess he was feeling bad after the loss in the second round, I guess. So there goes my alarm clock. It's a draw against he drew in the fourth round, even though there's this big gap, big difference. But Bogdan wanted the draw. He asked for the draw. He got a draw. If you ask me, if there's Bogdan will come to me and ask for me for a draw, or like a guy, Samuel Timotei Gimpo, I play against him, or I play against Felix Ilinka, or Tudor Henry, or any other player, and ask for a draw because of the ELO in the first instance. I'm gonna accept a draw first and foremost. And the tournament is still early, so yeah. Anyway, fifth round, still against a Polish player, lower rated. He got couloir at the very least, Bogdan. So anyway, couloir is like he got a straight line playing weaker opponents. Maybe he likes to play with black. So now he's around 320 points stronger elo wise at the very least, playing against Piotr Brzezina. from Poland, FIDE master. So Bogdan with the black pieces d4 and knight f6, c4 and g6. Oh, will we have the Grunfeld? And now we will have the King's Indian. e4 and pawn to d6 by Bogdan, pawn to h3 by Piotr. Wow, a nice line with some ideas of g4 and bishop to e3 and playing with the two bishops development first before the knights in this system from all the white side. Pawn to e5 by Bogdan and pawn to d5 by Piotr. Knight to c5 hitting the center immediately, queen c2 and pawn to a5 stabilizing the knight and getting more space on the queen side. g4 by Piotr, knight fd7 by Bogdan, bishop e2. This should be all theory. Knight b6, knight f3. Both sides develop their pieces. h5 hitting the pawns, the constellation g4 h3. Also with the bishop on c8, of course. And after that capture, you can capture with the rook, safe and sound. Even though there is the bishop over there, you will move the rook later on. h4 to get more space and minimize the queen. Bishop h6, knight g5, takes, queen takes, a queen sacrifice with some rook h1 ideas, h takes g5, Piotr accepts the queen sack, takes here, bishop to h3, a lot of pressure on the bishop, so it's a very nice game. Wow, it's an interesting and very amazing game. After king e2, I can at least take here, or give a check, or bring my king and then bring my rook. So black has a rook and a knight for the queen, but has some attack. The pawns are equal, and that's pretty much it. Bishop g4, with the idea that you cannot block due to check, and I will reclaim the queen, and only for a rook, so I'll be up a piece afterwards. So you cannot do that. So king e1, king e7, knight e2, rook a to h8, knight to g3, rook to g1, pawn to b3 by Piotr, rook h2 by Bogdan, and then queen c3, knight to d7, remaneuvering the other knight, the bad piece, reinforcing the knight on c5. So it's a long initiative for black. Let's see what happened. Knight to b3. How did he win this game? It was a nice queen sacrifice in the opening, and then he just converted. So bishop to f3, attacking and improving piece by piece. The knight got to d4. You saw how the knight from c5 got remaneuvered to d4. The bishop got to f3. The king is getting there to g7 to a safer haven. Maybe f6 or f5 is supported. Now the rooks are very connected. It's a very stable position and cooperating. So yeah, my alarm went off. So, okay, we're gonna let it ring for a little bit, as this is time trouble for both of them. Okay, for just, I don't know if you can hear it though. I don't know if you guys can hear it. You probably can. It's a big sound. So bishop to h5, 3 seconds for Bogdan, 6 seconds for him. So it's trouble, 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 but he wins a pawn, the pawn on g5. He tries to restabilize, bring the knight into the game, and he makes a tactic over here, and yeah, and then they will get to the time control. But why did this tactic work? Let's see, because if you take like here, this rook f3, just winning the queen, and okay, I stopped the alarm, and there's no other way to recapture. You cannot capture like this because you lose the queen. You cannot capture with the king as the rook protects it, and there's no other way to do it. He moved the queen, and then that's it. I won a pawn, and then I win on f3. So now definitely a lot of compensation for the queen, and it looks like it's a stable position. Also, knight takes f3 and rook takes f3, check. And the point is that the king is getting checkmated if you accept the knight sacrifice as well. And Piotr just resigned the game. And yeah, that also good alarm to kind of see the time trouble and that to finish the game. So you saw what happened, just improving the pieces and just coiling around the white king, just like a snake, just around Piotr, just around a player 320 points, smaller rated, a FIDE master against the grandmaster, you know. So yeah, king takes e4, just f5, checkmate is the point. And yeah, if you move any other way, I got so many pawns. I can win also this later on, maybe, because I don't really want to give up my knight. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I give a check. Maybe I move my knight over here. Maybe, oh, maybe I win the queen actually with rook f2. I'm sorry, I'm blind. So anyway, I'm gonna save this in my library over here, move to the next game, sixth round, played against this guy. Let's see how much we recorded, 34 minutes, 35 minutes. My goal is to record to 55 minutes. So okay, let's try to speed things up. 60 moves, 2 minutes clock, Let's go. Bogdan played against Paichadze, Luka. I don't know. I don't see the flag. Maybe he's from Russia or from Ukraine, as we don't see the flag. Q490 doesn't have a title. I guess it's just not showcased. He could be a grandmaster or at least an IM. You just pay the fee for the FIDE master and you're a FIDE master because of 2300. He also played against another Romanian, Matei Andrei Koichev. So basically, we have an Indo-Indian, a Catalan combined with the Catalan or Romanician Kasparov system. Sometimes Magnus Carlsen played like this, but Kasparov played like this very much. C takes d5, E takes d5, knight h3. So knight b6 by Paichadze and castles. I don't know how old is Paichadze Luka, honestly, but let's see. Okay, bishop to d7, f3. So basically, Bogdan is trying to build up the center, and Paichadze is trying for a blockade over here on the light squares on c4 and on a4. And it's a long game, so I'm just gonna skip through a lot of it. Proving the rooks, preparing for e4, bishop b5, queen d1 by Bogdan. So swapping the pieces and the blockade by Paichadze. Bishop to b2 to defend the pawns, defend the squares over there. Pawn to e4, but now knight 7 to b6, right? And now bishop to a1, knight to c4. So Paichadze really squeezing the position, really squeezing the blockade over there. And I kind of like it from Paichadze, what he did over here. Knight g4 by Bogdan, knight to e3, takes, and now knight to b6. So here bishop to b2, c5, even a breakthrough. Maybe rook c8 could have been played before the break, but who knows? This is also good. The point is, of course, if you go here, the knight e4 will just get the pawn back. So bishop to c1 takes, and the c file is also open. That's why I said rook c8 could have been begun with sooner or later. But yeah, it's almost like a double-edged position. Both sides have their chances, and then the time trouble happens, at least for Bogdan, 42 seconds, and 12 minutes for Paichadze, f4. So it's almost a good night. It's a good rook over here. Maybe the alarm is very annoying. You guys can tell me down in the comments down below if the alarm is annoying and or if the time length of the videos is annoying, and what would you prefer more? H5 by Black, King G2 by Bogdan, King E6, time trouble now, 155 by Chatse on the time clock, F5, King F3, Rook G8, Rook G1, Rook G6, and finally I can finally close down the alarm. So the time trouble has ended. It's kind of a nice thing to recreate the atmosphere, because even though they wouldn't hear a sound, this is like their heart pumping, then the panic mode. So anyway, after the time control, after they get 30 minutes, after move 40, now they can take a breather, but the game doesn't finish, the game doesn't stop. You can inhale for a bit, but not for too much. So anyway, pawn takes, king takes, it's almost equal over here. I wouldn't lie to you. Bogdan has a protected passer over here and a nice pawn chain, but the bishop is of the same color, so there's still a lot of work to do. So takes, pawn to h6, rook to g7, invading in the 7th rank. Now improving the king e2, takes. Black definitely has a passer on the b file, so we need to move the king closer to that. Rook to h7, king f5, so one wanna move, white wanna move, and one pawn, rook takes h6 of that, but king activity, black gets a lot of activity for this, but now e6, so Bogdan, let's see what he calculated. Rook takes h5, he wins another pawn, and pawn to f5, so he gets his pawns rolling, and Piacenza never pushed the pawn, or maybe too late at the very least. And now Bogdan gave up a bishop or invited for it because these pawns are too strong, so that's why the rook came back. Now bishop to d2, pawn to b4, takes, and rook to e5 check, takes, and pawn to e7, even giving up a rook for f7 and just cleaning up the pawns, and that's what happened in the game, and that was it. Piacenza couldn't find the refutation to it, and he made the prior to last move with 7 seconds on the clock, and that's how the game ended. Now, of course, I mean, in my mind, maybe I play king e4 immediately, but if you play king e4, there's e6, so something like this, and maybe this two takes here, takes. Maybe he didn't want to calculate everything.
if you take like this would happen. Maybe there's e6, and maybe there's checkmate, but maybe there's rook c2 too. It's a very sharp position, but even like in the game, here, knight to c6 is what he chose. I would start pushing the pawn immediately, but okay, no, he needed to stop checkmate, so okay. What about here? Maybe these pawns are too fast, but you still have to stop this and this too. Yeah, he scared him too much. He scared Piacenza too much. Anyway, let's see the next game. But Piacenza, okay, he didn't have a strong performance either. As a 2-4-90. Oh, was it the first tournament for him? Performance of 2-4-90, 2-4-9-4. Let's see Piacenza Luca. Just as a side note, Piacenza, maybe he's a kid and he has never, or he's a guy. Wow. Luca Fide ID. Let's see how old is he. Oh, 1991. Maybe, or maybe he hasn't played for too long. Oh, he is international master and grandmaster. He's from Georgia, but for some reason his flag and his title wasn't shown. So he is a grandmaster, and he's born in 91, so he's like 35 years old. Okay, and I saw Salimova Nurgul also has played in this tournament. Okay, 41 minutes. Okay, let's go. Let's see the seventh round. So Bogdan moved into 4.5 out of 6. Okay, and again, another timer on my clock. Let's see. And the 41 move game, let's see, from the black side. He was playing against the Grandmaster from England, Matthew, who lost against Bogdan and had lost against Mircea Țălu too. I'm not sure if I'm gonna cover Mircea Țălu too, but maybe in another day and in another life. I'm covering too much and it takes too much time and I have to go to work and I have to eat and I have to take care of my life too. So, and plus the European Championship has finished anyway. So anyway, Bogdan against Matthew, 100 points and something difference. So anyway, it's like the Bogo Indian here, knight bd2, bishop to e7, pawn to c5, striking in the center. Not much happening. Bishop to g2, captures, knight c6. It's a very stable and calm way of playing, just putting pressure on the pieces and trying to make some difference in the pawn structure as the b file is open and white has 3 pawns over there. Bishop to e4, it looks almost like a queen's Indian defense also. And queen b7, taking stock into the long diagonal. Pawn to a4, keeping 2 pawns with 1 over here. And then bishop to f1, d6. Rook takes d6, a sacrifice. Wow, for bishop takes f6. Later, wow, a rook sacrifice, an exchange sacrifice. And then rook fd8. But yeah, let's see how Bogdan dealt with it. Queen e7. So he came all the way over here. Matthew played queen e5, queen d6, trying to swap the queens and pieces. And then again, another piece sacrifice. Check, bishop to f7. And then here, white is down a piece. Just simply a piece. But he has what? 3 pawns? 3 pawns for the piece. Right. But yeah, a piece is a piece. So knight d7, rook to d1, and maybe he was invited. He was maybe a little bit, uh, impulsive because of time trouble of Bogdan. But then he just takes on c4, and then he just stabilizes everything. But let's see how, because it's a time trouble over here. Rook c6, and he puts pressure on c5. Rook takes c5. After knight c4, knight takes on b2. Check. Yep, king e1. Rook bd3 attacking both pieces, knight c4 check and takes on a3. And yeah, with the time trouble finishing, Matthew resigned the game, and we can stop the alarm clock, and we covered the game in 2 minutes. So what happened is Matthew went all out with the rook exchange sacrifice, and then he sacrificed also another piece, but he didn't get too much. He got the pawns, but he didn't get an attack on the king. In the end, you cannot have both the pawns and the attack on the king. And yeah, that's about it. I just saved the game, and there's no reason to analyze with the engine. Well, if I open up the engine, we can see all of the colors, mistakes by both sides by move 20. We'll just save it this way. But yeah, in the end, Bogdan prevailed, and that's about it. Okay, again, next round against Eduardo Iturizaga Bonelli. 23 move draw, and the first move over here, and Bogdan is with the white pieces, and we're gonna start the chronometer, or how do you say in English, stopwatch, or the counter. We'll start the counter. So d4 knight of 60 46. So Bogdan only plays like the queen's pawn. I haven't seen him too much playing the e4, so he can combine everything, or like knight f3, or like the Reti or the Nimzo Larsen, but he plays closed systems usually. Knight c3, bishop to b4. Maybe if he wants to get back to 2700 and maybe reach 2750 and break to 2800 and finally have the first Romanian world champion, maybe he would consider something like e4. That's my thought. That's my advice. That's my thing to say. So anyway, Eduard Iturizaga Bonelli, former 2600, maybe 2650 from Spain. Now takes. We have like Ragozin or something, or Nimzo Indian or something like that. Queen c2, c6. Everything is stable, solid. Bishop d2. Everybody develops their pieces. g6 to neutralize the bishop on d3. And let's see how they made a draw. So just develop the pieces. Pawn to f3, bishop to b7. Pawn to c5, just a breakthrough in the center, equalizing the game. Attack on the b file, king to h1. Iturizaga is up 50 minutes, more than Bogdan, which is insane. So anyway, they regroup. Bishop c2, bishop c6, pawn to g3, knight f8, and knight to c3, offering a draw. The last one was Bogdan after this move, and it's a draw. Because, well, the last evaluation is that black is better. He sensed the danger, and luckily for Bogdan, Eduardo accepted the draw. He played well the opening and well the game, and he was confident. This is how you have to play, Bogdan. I mean, you have to play faster. This is how you have to play on the clock. You know what I mean? So you just need to improve the clock to get back to your rating and to get back first to 13700 and then 2750 to break through. And I believe in you, Bogdan, for sure. And there goes my alarm clock. Nothing much happening from the opening. But why is black better? Because he has a protected passer over here. He has good pieces, and it's just a passive game for white. And that's about it. We're just gonna save the game and move on to the next one. Of course, if Black had chances to win, sure. He didn't want to try. Yeah, he didn't want to try. So we're just gonna move to the next one. Vaclav Finek with the white pieces against Bogdan. It's an IM from Czech Republic. So let's go back. Let's go here. Start the counter. Start the timer. So let's go. 2 minutes. And let's see how Bogdan did. Pawn to d4 by Vaclav. 2571. He's a very strong IM. Why doesn't he have the grandmaster yet? Maybe because he didn't get the final norm. Maybe he's a kid, as he is very young in this picture. So, or a youngster at the very least. E6, knight to f3, pawn to d5, pawn to g3, and bishop to b4. Again, the Bogo Indian. So, okay, pawn to a5, and yeah, the Catalan. We have the Catalan over here. The Wade Smyslov variation, bishop to e7, castle pawn to c6, rook to c1. We take white takes stocks of the open c file. So Bogdan just develops his pieces. Pawn to h6, just tries to have enough space on the king and plays ultra perfect. Bishop to e1 by Vaclav, takes, and knight to c3 tries to take the advantage of the open c file. Bishop to a6 to develop the bishop outside of the pawn chain and onto an open diagonal, which immediately gets blockaded by the knight on b5. And it's a 60 move game, so I have to speed up. Knight to e4, pawn to e3, takes by Vaclav, and now queen to b8 by Bogdan, bishop to f1 overprotecting the knight, rook c8. So the attack and the main action is on the c file, and a lot of pieces get traded off. It's a symmetrical game. The game just goes forward, and even the queens gets traded off, and the main piece of action is just in the end game. So let's see the end game. A lot of improvements, a very nice move h5, just to kind of get more space and stop white in its tracks. Even a capture over there, and even a capture over here. So of course, if any side wants to play for a win, first of all, Bogdan shouldn't play with the bishop over here, play with the knight and create an imbalance. And second thing is Vaclav shouldn't take. But then again, this sound over here of the timer, as two more moves needs to reach. needs to be made to reach time control by Bogdan, and there we go, time control. But it's just an ending, and it's just this the main piece of action. They played for 20 more moves, and it ended in a draw. But this is very interesting because it's almost grandmaster play. It's grandmaster from Bogdan, and Vaclav is at the grandmaster level to 5-7-1 for sure, more than grandmaster. For sure. King g7, bishop d1. So let's see. White has more pawns on the dark square than black and more points of attack, but there's not much to break to play for, like bishop to e2 and play like here to invade with the bishop, and the king needs to go to c3 and pawn to b4. And yeah, for Bogdan, he needs to bring to the king to d6 and play for e5. So bishop to e4. It seems like Vaclav just plays back and forth. He doesn't want more than a draw. Bishop g4 to attack the pawn, and he just defended it tactically. If you take, then there's king h5, and again it's very much equal, but you give chances to Bogdan. So here, bishop to f5, and yeah, nobody wanted to try anything, and just white can try something. And then the second alarm clock for me, and it's time to go home, shake hands, and just go home. Again, Vaclav could have tried here, or Bogdan could have brought the king back here and pushed for e5, but then he still needed to try something. So yeah, when he had the king here, after bishop to e2, he can play e5, but maybe there was something that he didn't like. Of course, white can still stay, and that's it. But I guess at least you get rid of one of your weakness, which was on a light square, right? Was on e6, and then you can start the maneuvering. But it's still nothing. You cannot really break through. You cannot stop your king. Yeah, he's king. Maybe you can try to bring the bishop and play for b5, but it would be a pawn sacrifice or something. I don't really see it happening. Maybe force b3, but again, the draw and the draw. Yeah. Move on to the next round. Let's move on to the next round. It's 10:53 a.m. for me. Okay, only two more rounds. So you see, we make progress. So 52 minutes recorded by the video. If I make a timer, if I respect the timer, we just finish it. Maybe the quality of the video will decrease, but Bogdan helps me because he plays especially with the last game, statically, positionally, quiet, symmetrical, boring. There was not much to discuss. A draw after 60 moves, a lot of trades, the C file opening up. Yeah, I mean, you guys can study the opening, you guys can study the middle game, but you can check some of my other videos, and that's about it. And then we have a very nice encounter against Paulius Pultinevicius, which Bogdan won. So I start my timer with 2 minutes, around 100 elo difference. But let's see, Grandmaster against Grandmaster. We have seen Paulius in action already in prior videos from Lithuania, right? Lithuania, not Latvia. Okay, Latvia was Mikhail Tal. It's a different flag. So anyway, we have the English over here, pawn to e3, knight to f3, the four knights English with bishop to b4, knight e5. The knight goes back after that pawn push, a3, hitting the bishop, queen c2, pressure some here on the e4 pawn, and just with some ideas to have bishop to b2. Like if you had played b4, then bishop to e5 was an idea, but then I have bishop to b2. So anyway, it's a nice thing over there. Knight to h3, a very nice way of developing your pieces, or curious, a very interesting way. Pawn to d3 to break through. Knight f6 here to exchange the pieces. Pawn to d4. So that was his point. Because if he had left his knight over there, then some knight d5 and c takes d5 and some weaknesses could have arrived. So Bogdan is happy to having pushed those pawns like that, like this, to having this pawn structure, and bishop to c3 to get some nice advantage, some nice space advantage. Now knight g5, but of course the time is slower for Bogdan. Knight g5, h4, and bishop to b8, king to b1 by Bogdan, d5 breaking through and taking advantage of the pin over there. But then g4, Bogdan goes for an attack on the king, sacrifices a pawn, and another pawn, sacrifices the one on c4 and invites for a capture on g4. And Pultinevicius and Paulius doesn't play this, maybe some ideas of knight to 4, and then here we're moving the bishop with bishop to e2. And yeah, so it just plays stable queen e6. My alarm is soon to run out. So g takes h6, queen h6, rook g1, knight f5, bishop takes c3. So now trying to neutralize everything. A bishop attacks the rook, attacks the other rook, bishop takes, bishop c4. And now both sides have time trouble. So ding, 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 ding by the alarm. Ding, ding, ding is in their head. Let's get to move number 40. Only 5 moves to reach 30 more minutes on the clock and the time control, and finally to breathe. But there's panic mode in my mind. a4, queen c7, rook c8, queen takes a7, and bishop to d3 check. So just a time trouble. And okay, we'll just add 1 more minute to the coverage or to the timer for the video. And after everything is said and done, after move 40, after this check, knight takes d3, e takes d3, and queen d7. So, okay, before queen d7, I can already say that black has 4 pawns and white has 5 pawns. White has a nice bishop over here, a nice, very active queen, and yeah, he just has too much activity. So, what's the advantage? I would say +1 or +2, maybe even more. It's plus, yeah, plus 3.7, +4. But queen d7 now, rook f8. So they breathed after that move, after that time control, but a couple of more moves, and Bogdan will convert the win. It's just a pawn up and more active pieces, and tries to neglect white black's activity. And okay, another timer for me to finish the game. But okay, this was the game. I'm just gonna explain over the time, if over the alarm, just to finish it fast, because if I talk louder, I will consume more energy and it's gonna be over. Why is it over? Why Paulius resigned the game? Why it has too much activity? You cannot really get rid of the bishop. If you try to, then I will occupy the h file, and you cannot really stop checkmate. So you cannot really avoid me occupying the h file. And if you tried to run away with the king, some g6. First of all, I come over here again, and you have to give up a lot of material, and you still get checkmated in this variation. And other than that, if you don't try g6, if you try uh, something, first of all, the queen is not in the game. Here, I would go here, and then again, I would checkmate you somehow. Here, and for example, check, and this is checkmate. So yeah, that was the game. Bogdan moves on to 7.5 out of 10. It was a nice victory. I'm sorry for that loud noise of that alarm, but this is me trying to finish the video. So take it as it is, and you can skip through the noise or just turn down the volume if that happens again, or you know what I mean. So let's see the final game. It was a draw. White, or I meant Bogdan definitely needed a win in this final game against Nijat Abbasov. Nijat is a former candidates player and former 2650 player in the FIDE candidates, you know. And yeah, let's see the game. And as my means of respect, we will take a 3 minutes alarm timer. Maybe I'll just do let's do the video sharp like this, don't go overboard, and then also do the outro. So d4, knight f6, Nisha Tabasov with the with the white pieces, and Bogdan needed the win. And when you need a win, first of all, it's a good strategy to play like him, the Ragozin, the Nimzo Indian, and then h6, the sideline, stopping bishop g5, and e3, another sideline. For sure, you can probably play more ambitiously than e3, but I think e3 is already good enough. C5 going into a Benoni's type of stuff, but Nishad declines. Of course, D5, maybe invites for B5. So again, Bogdan shows up to the occasion and takes more risks. So Nijad refuses with a3, bishop takes, pawn takes, d6, bishop to d3, and knight to c6 by Bogdan, and pawn to e4 by Nijad Abbasov, and he takes the whole center with d5, 97, and for the price that two bishops, Nijad has, Bogdan has for that price, he has the two knights and the blockade, and he plays against the two pawns, the double pawns. and he can put some pressure over here, here, or just remaneuver the knights beautifully. So let's see, knight g6, pawn to a5 to get more space. Now Nijat has more experience as he has played in the FIDE candidates. So in this position, he looks like Anish Giri a little bit, but he's from Azerbaijan. And if he wanted to make a draw, he's just gonna make a draw almost at will. So pawn to g4, or he knows how to control the game. But yeah, but Bogdan is the favorite in elo wise. So anyway, he gets more space here on the white side, on the flank over here and over here. He plays on the both sides, Nijat Abbasov. So Bogdan responds to just trade off his worst placed piece, and let's see what he does just to win a pawn. So knight g3, knight takes h4, queen g3 and g5, and then pawn to f4. So Nijat gets a lot of activity and initiative, takes, and of course, if you take here, I'm just gonna take here. So probably there's an attack on the king, but okay, white. I mean, black Bogdan just goes for it, and white just captures, takes, and king here. If he wanted to have more chances for a win, he shouldn't have gone into this Bogdan. As for a win, 8.5 out of 11 would have brought him close to the top 10 places, right? King F and more money for sure, and a spot for the World Cup. So anyway, by rook e8 here, rook e5 here, f6. So even here he has some chances, but too minimal of chances. As yeah, he has some chances because the bishop is blockaded. It's a better ending for black. It's the bishop is, yeah, but it's kind of equal too. As the bishop is blockaded, I wanted to say, and my bishop can attack your pawns. So again, guys, you can turn down the volume if you don't like the alarm clock, but it's just me to finish up the video and finish up the game. So bishop to d3, rook to g5, bishop to e2, rook to e5, and here they repeated a little bit, and they ended up in a draw after rook e5. He proposed a draw to Nijat, and he agreed. Uh, for white, there's nothing to push for a draw as he has the double pawns over here, and for black, you have to get rid of this weakness. You'd have to play b6, and try to turn the rook there. Maybe this one. It's a lot of maneuvering. You have to survive first the next couple of 9 moves to reach time control and then play all a new game. And Bogdan said he did everything. He decided not to test Nijat, maybe out of respect to, and maybe also because 4 minutes against 24 minutes on the clock, and he didn't wanna blunder. He didn't wanna lose the game. So that's about it. Save the game and go home, shake hands, and that's it. And Bogdan finishes with 8 out of 11, and that's it. I stopped that noise. And yeah, I kept my word. This video is gonna be 1 hour long unless I make a joke, and now I just stay overboard and just decide to do something crazy to show you guys some other things like feel the idea just speak about the tournament in particular. But yeah, just drop a comment down below if you like the coverage, if you like the other videos too, if you want me to cover another Romanian player like Mircea Țălu. I just do not have time for everything and energy, and even for these videos I didn't have time, but I just sacrificed all of my morning and my day, and in 30 minutes I have to go to work. So I'm just so confused right now. Like, I have to upload this, I have to eat, I have to brush my teeth, I have to do this, yada yada yada. And yeah, but I hope you guys like it. I hope you enjoy that I share my knowledge, that I share some of the things. I will leave you with some photos from European Chess Championship 2026. If I can find some behind the scenes photos. Look, look at this, guys. We're just gonna go through some it's senior, but okay, British Chess Championships 2026. We have Magnus, so of course, we don't find, and this is 2025, and this is senior, so we cannot even find the pictures. We have to look further and further. We have to look very fast. So yeah, it's just a bad thing. It's bad promotion, bad marketing by them. Yeah, you cannot even find any pictures. Any pictures. Individual. Let me see. individual European Chess Championship. Oh my God, my mind and my nerves are here. Yeah, we only find 2025. We cannot find 2026. We cannot find any photos. What is this? What is this? Let's try Facebook. What is this, guys? Oh my God, not this. There was that blog. Okay. Okay, guys. It's just not gonna take too much. Okay, let's see. European Chess Championship 2026. I doubt we're gonna find something. Maybe here. Okay, I need to follow it. I need to like it and follow it. Okay, it's in Polish, that's why. It's just bad marketing and bad promotion. What is this? 12 likes, 9 subscribe, 9 shares, 9 I said 1 6 distribute shares. You know what I mean? We have the filing conclusions. Yeah, I can put a link. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna copy this link. I'm gonna share to that last video. Just gonna share the articles. It's mostly about the winner of the tournament, the Ukrainian one, with a flag over here, as he was seed 120 and he is an IM. He got immediately the GM title. Yeah, we just don't have photos. 16th of April, when the tournament was still ongoing, we just have clips. Okay, now we have some photos. You can see some photos over here. You can see the David Anton Giharo. I don't know if you can find some photos of Bogdan-Daniel Deac from the tournament. I have to recognize everything too. It's just not a lot of people that, yeah, they need more sponsors. It's just such a prestigious tournament. They need more sponsors. They need more marketing. They need more promotion. And they're like, who watches chess, and who would watch it? Okay, maybe you guys cannot even see it as it's on the. Maybe I need to move my camera a little bit. Let me move it over here, and you can see on the right side. Yeah, let's see if we can find the Bogdan-Daniel Deac photo. This is Stavrula from Greece. Yeah, you guys can see all of the photos. Some players. I don't know all of them. If you can recognize them, drop a comment down below. I believe this is Ivic Velimer, or he looks similar to him. Ivanchuk played in tournament. Nice. Edis Gurel. Okay. David Navarra. Nice. Even David Navarra didn't win the championship, right? You can see how prestigious of this tournament. And then we're just repeating the photos. Yeah, cannot find a photo. But I've shown you photos of Bogdan-Daniel Deac at the beginning of the video. But that's about it. Okay, 1 hour 07. Now let's just make the image bigger and let's conclude the video. That's about it. Thank you guys for watching from the bottom of my heart, for real. You can see my heart over here. And yeah, it's just me in my small room over here at my home at rent, and I'm gonna change the rent. And it's just me covering this tournament. It's just me covering the players, the performances. It's just me, 2100 rated player. I have the strength of a master, but don't have the title. I don't have the titles as of yet, as I haven't played too many tournaments, and I think I have to give up chess for a while, as I have a couple of jobs and I have to get by, and I have to with time and the energy. But I'm also a chess coach, so I won't give that up. But at least as a player, so I'm not gonna play online. But I will continue to make videos for YouTube. If I make one video for per week in this period, guys, in these 3 months, one per week or two per week, you guys should be happy. Because this is the second one. I just made one. I just spent time here, 3 hours and 30 minutes in front of the camera. I just woke up at 8 and it's 11 and 10. I woke up at earlier, like 7:40. I didn't eat, I didn't brush my teeth, I didn't do anything. I just woke up. I didn't write a script, I didn't consult, I didn't prepare anything for the video. No script, no photos, no games. I didn't even make my bed. You can see my bed over there. So I'm sorry about that. as you can see the bed over there. But this video wasn't about me. This was about Bogdan-Daniel Deac. The previous one was about David Gavrilescu. But yeah, as an outro, I just want to say, guys, share the video, share the channel, help me grow. I would appreciate even the likes, even the comments, everything that helps for the algorithm. I personally care what the algorithm cares. You know, the algorithm cares too much for it. Now I go on with my normal life, with the jobs. I care most and foremost about the jobs. Outside of the jobs, of course, I would say that I don't really care about the YouTube channel. I care a little bit. The algorithm cares. So the only requests are for the algorithm and for the YouTube channel. I have to keep being consistent. I have to. I just have to. I just have to. I've started the channel, so I have to do it. I have to keep doing it for 2 more years or 1 more year at the very least. I cannot give up. You cannot give up in the beginning. In the beginning, you struggle, you rise, you grind, you go about it, you're happy in the beginning. It's like 1 year since I've done videos, so now I'm doing some in English, and the more in English I'm gonna keep coming with some in Romanian too. You know what I want is I want to I want to popularize chess, and I want to help people get improve that chess. I'm sorry, I'm just very, in the last period, I've been very stressed, cannot communicate very well. I've just been very mad, very blocked with my thoughts and everything, very shameful or negative, so to speak. So what do I want to do with the YouTube chess channel? I just want to grow the channel. Also want to produce some money at some point. I want to get rich. I want to get some money. I want to get lots of money. I want to collaborate with people. I want to do nice things. I want to grow. I don't necessarily want to be popular myself. I want the channel to be popular. Of course, I don't want to be hypocrite. It's not gonna be popular the channel without me, because it's mainly me. It's the main photo is the main picture of me over there. Maybe in the future I will have some other people here to show their faces, or behind the scenes to help me collaborate. But until then, it's still gonna be me. It's still gonna be me until 1,000 subscribers, until 5,000 subscribers, until 10,000 subscribers. It's probably gonna be only me, and then I'm probably gonna collaborate. So until then, I'm just gonna be me, grind, and work, and upload and record, talk, analyze, and speak, edit, and cut the videos and respond to you, and just try to, yeah, just help you as much as possible. It's more directed as in a chess manner rather as in a I try to combine them as in a like video editing stuff. I'm not doing much of video editing. I'm just editing the YouTube stuff, the description, and all of that stuff. No, I'm not doing any video editing. I'm just editing the before the upload and the uploading stuff and that stuff over there. In the future, maybe I will dedicate more and more time to it. Maybe I will just do a 1% a day. So I will talk to ChatGPT. Hey, do an analysis of my videos. Can you help me grow on YouTube? What am I doing wrong? Is it bad that I'm showing the background, that I'm showing the pillow over there, that I'm showing the mattress, that I'm showing that I'm showing the blanket? Is it bad? Is it bad for the quality? Is it bad that my hair is not staying? Is it bad that I don't have a script? Is it bad that I'm not cutting the video? Is it bad that I'm not doing any video sound effects? Is it bad that I'm uploading it raw? ChatGPT told me numbers of times that most of the creators post it raw, or at the very least, they just take care of recording themselves and talking, right? And they have somebody helping them. So do not stress about it. Like 70% or 80% of the videos that get uploaded to YouTube, they are raw, they are unedited and unfiltered. So this was the outro. 107 was the video. Maybe the games were 103. So you see, like for 15 minutes I did my outro. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I really need to go, need to prepare for work and eat. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I'm really thankful and I'm really grateful, and more videos to come. keep in check, keep in check, and keep in contact, keep in here, and keep some comments if you want to ask any questions. If I forgot to put anything in the description, and if I forgot to cover anything, also try to consider in this video and in other videos, try to consider your tone, as we chess players we need to kind of overthink. So another thing I want to mention, first of all, why I started again to post in English, because I got so mad and so upset at all of the Romanian player, all of the Romanian comments. It's in my mind too, but this is what happens when you're a chess player. You kind of tend to exaggerate and over amplify everything in your head. And all the bad comments, I've just only seen the bad comments. There have been good comments by the Romanian guys too, and I just forgot about them. So yeah, just take into account that we are all playing a mental game, and if we damage our mentality, it's bad. So yeah, if you don't have anything nice to say, or if you have a bad manner or criticize, try to keep it on the low, or try to keep it professional or diplomatic, or just divide those points 1, 2, 3, 4, or something like that, or just say at the end, this was a rant, what rant, how do I say, a rant, right? This is was a rant by me, the commented, the by you the viewer, by you who leaves a comment. This was a rant, this was me being upset, mad, and in Romanian too. But eu eram nervos, eram supărat, tu, cel care comentai, și zi la final, băi, na, sau nu mai fă mișto aia iurea. Pe bune, când cineva are 340 de subscriberi aproape și tu încerci să-i tai aripile și să faci mișto de el, doar arăți ca un papagal, arăți ca un arici așa care încearcă să țepuiască pe cineva și doar nu o să-ți mai acord atenție ție și doar o să-mi scadă mie momentan vizualizările, dar după aia o să cresc din nou pentru că o să mă redresez eu și o să-mi redresez eu viața. Deci, chiar dacă tu ai de câștigat pe moment că încerci să mă încetinești, încerci să mă înlături de la drumul meu și să-mi cresc canalul de YouTube, tu de fapt ești doar un păcălit și un fraier, și dacă îți rețin numele, s-ar putea să nu mai dau ochii cu tine și s-ar putea să nu-ți mai acord niciun respect și dacă ne vedem față în față sau dacă te mai văd pe internet și mai ales dacă ne vedem față în față sau dacă te văd la turnee. Deci ai grijă ce zici, ai grijă ce vorbești. Na, atât am de zis. Alright guys, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening and see you in the next one. Bye bye. And thank you for watching the coverage for Bogdan-Daniel Deac. This was the video for him. Bye bye. See you later. Bye.